Hi friends, welcome back. So headlines, stock market investors went from cheering a Goldilocks economy to fearing recession. Here's what's next. And Goldman economists lift, quote, limited U.S. recession risk to 25%. These are sort of the talks of the market right now. Are we going to recession or not? And Warren Buffett is selling. He sold half his stake in Apple. Their cash levels over at Berkshire Hathaway are record. This actually chart just came out, and it's crazy when you look at how much money they got. This is their cash level, $277 billion. You look at that high bar on the far right, it is much bigger than any time they've ever had this level of cash. And so the discussion is, okay, what's he doing with all that cash? Why are you selling your Apple? Here's the thing, guys. Buffett's probably not going to tell you the truth. Look at people's actions, not necessarily what they say. So he sold Apple's stake. We know that, right? So yes, he's taking profit for sure. And then sort of what we're looking at now is like, okay, where are you going to put your money next? And we'll probably find out after the fact. There's people already saying, hey, just go out and go buy Netflix or something like that. Like if they have enough money, they could just go buy an entire company if you wanted. The other issue that we're going to have here on Monday is going to be nuts in the market. I think we got this bad news coming out from NVIDIA. This is just coming out now. So it says here, NVIDIA's new AI chip delayed due to design flaws. Oh, no. And if you understand what's going on in the market, it's all been about the AI hype. NVIDIA has been sort of the beneficiary of that. And NVIDIA was the beneficiary of the other hype cycle, which was crypto. So could this be like the craziest bubble out there in history? Maybe. I mean, look at this. Microsoft, Google, Meta, they're all, need those NVIDIA chips to work so they can prove to their investors that their investment in like buying those chips from NVIDIA it pays off, and then prove the Wall Street that. And on top of these things, right, these economic concerns, you also have possible expanding war in the Middle East. You've been following this story. Israel's been going tit for tat with, Iran, Hamas. US, UK, France, and even Australia, which someone in the community mentioned a couple days ago, are asking their citizens to leave Lebanon, just worried about war. Usually this kind of thing, when the State Department say, yo, you need to get out, and that's usually a bad sign. Because how this works is just that they usually get tipped off, and then before there's any fighting, you just wait till the civilians do evacuate from various foreign countries. So keep an eye on that. It is spooking the Israel stock market. So I just want to say it's when we go over this stuff, it's not just U.S. stock market. I'm watching all of it. So Israel is crashing, unfortunately. Also, too, you have Japan worried about recession in the U.S. and also growth risk in Japan and in China, of course. Then you have in Korea, where I'm at, same thing. We're worried about U.S. recession. So our market dropped, right? Biggest drop in 4 years. And the big question is the stuff going to hit the fan? So there's this chart here, and I want to show you guys this. This is a chart going around about, okay, what happens after the rate cut? Because the rumor at the moment, I'll call it rumor because it hasn't happened yet, is that the Fed's going to cut in September. And this is the chart that everyone's been looking at here. After the first cut, and this goes back to the 80s, so it doesn't cover all of them, but back to the 80s, after the first cut, you'll see a recession. Now, this does not mean, though, that cut causes recession. I want to make that really clear. Cut itself doesn't necessarily cause a recession. It's just more like the Fed will cut when they think things are slowing down and like, oh no, you're right, things are slowing down. We need to get things going again. Let's get that money back out in the system. The problem is that we're still dealing with inflation, as you know. So things are still too expensive. So every cycle is different in the cycle of the U.S. economy, world economy, right? But do learn from the past and do pay attention to these things. My personal opinion is you could probably still keep rates higher for longer is what they've been saying all along, but there's so much political pressure to cut that I'm sure that's what they're going to do. but you never know. You never know. We'll wait till we see what September is. You can look at prior cuts in the past this year. So basically you just look at the chart as, okay, this was the peak in the rates of the Fed rate. This is when it started going down, and oftentimes it's either preceding recession or in a recession. So again, usually cutting rates to get the economy going. I've lived through this stuff before because someone asked me in comments, hey, Chris, can you talk about recession stuff, these kind of things. I'm 49. I always mention my age because sometimes people think I'm a lot younger. Nope, I'm not that young. And I remember this stuff. I remember the whole Occupy Wall Street stuff. This is back in the great financial crisis. For those of you older, you'll know this stuff. Younger kids, they've never seen this stuff. They don't know what the heck this stuff is, right? And it's sort of why I show you these things. Guys, I'm still here. I lived through these things. Is it good? No, not good. Is it fun? No, not fun. Do some people win, some people lose? Yes, absolutely. And kind of when I show you these things, I just want you guys to be on the winning side, essentially. It doesn't necessarily mean I want you to be corrupt, because unfortunately, the stuff I'm showing you is at that time the winning side were the corrupt Wall Street. I'll just be honest with you. It was that's why you see these we are the 99%. Everyone felt like the bailouts of the on Wall Street and Lehman and these kind of things were a little bit egregious, or a lot egregious, or very egregious, however you want to say it. So, but the system kept going on, and we're still here. I want to talk about this stuff though, because I think for people who haven't seen this stuff, they just think the world's going to fall apart. It's not going to be like that. It's just more like things are going to slow down and things are going to get tougher, right? When you talk about recession, it doesn't mean there won't be opportunity. It just means things will be tougher. There won't be 10 jobs for you. Maybe there's only going to be 3 jobs for you, right? Or something like that. I don't want to ever get the impression that you can't do well. It's just you might have to try a little harder, and also to be prepared for these kind of things. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing is too is and I'm just want to put some positive out here, because I know sometimes people get down when you talk about recessions. Is like, reach out to your network. Always be in contact with people around you, because there's always something there for you. You just need to not give up, and I'll leave it at that. I write about this stuff in my book, and I wanted to mention this stuff because sometimes people say things are too negative all the time, but I want to tell you about reality, but also tell you that you can make it through. Life goes on, no matter what happens. Life goes on. So do be careful out there. However, and this is however, I feel like, and sort of why I make these videos all the time, when I look at social media, especially with the Tesla pumpers or the crypto pumpers or whoever, I just feel like there's too much, fantasy or la la land out there. And so I like to do this because I just want to show you guys data and reality. This is an interesting one, and this is sort of why I mentioned the Wall Street corruption stuff, because Wall Street doesn't always tell you the truth, which is, oh my God, big shock. But they try to hide things as long as they can. And this is kind of an interesting headline here. Apple investors urged to stay calm after Buffett slashes stake. And it doesn't, when I read this, it doesn't make me feel better that, because if you're watching this stuff and Buffett's essentially the greatest investor of all time, and he's selling a bunch of stock, and you're just like, okay, what should I be doing? And you call up your advisor or whatever, and they're just like, oh, everything's fine, everything's great. It's like, well, how does that make sense? Because Buffett is selling, right? And so this is sort of why we're talking about this. This chart shows you though, they actually build up a pretty big stake in Apple. I think at one point it was over 50% of their portfolio or something like that. So now it's down to 20. But you can see it really went down. And it's not just Buffett selling. A lot of the tech is selling off. You're reaching slowdown in the global economy, also too high valuations. It's just time to take profits, right? And moreover, what could Apple's prospects be in the future? And why am I even talking about Apple here? Just talking about this because that's you could say it's our most important stock in the market. And essentially the way, the stuff works is that you want companies to grow their profits. You want them to bring out new products to get people to, spend money on their companies. And this was an interesting one because Apple's trying to sell you on their AI stuff, which is, they're calling it Apple Intelligence, but it's your AI stuff. It's kind of like keeping up with their chat GPTs, et cetera. And as you can see the headline, Apple Intelligence has a long way to go to match its marketing hype. The reviewer who saw an early copy of this stuff, I think you have to have a developer account or whatever. They sent out to people to review early. I think it comes out in September or something like that, or maybe October. If you guys have seen it also, you can let me know. But this person was saying, yeah, they thought the writing tools were all right. It was interesting though. They mentioned that, I didn't know this was in there, but they mentioned that I guess we're going to be able to record your phone calls and get transcripts. I can see how that would be a useful feature of, recording your phone calls, but I'm not quite sure how that makes people feel that it's now easier for me to record every phone call that I make with you. So I'll leave it at that, but it sort of represents sort of the world that we live in. Was also interesting too. He was saying he didn't think everything was great. So it says right here, but the summaries of text message conversations, particularly for fast-moving group chats, were a disappointment, mostly useless. Summaries are also helpful for in Safari articles, but I don't foresee being a particularly popular feature. So, I think your Grammarly, grammar checker kind of stuff is probably fine, but, is AI going to push the needle over for Apple? In my opinion, probably not. I think it's all hype. And we'll read some more stuff, kind of what they're saying on Wall Street. You can see here Apple's valuation multiple at 33 times future profits as of mid-July was 11 points higher than the broader S&P 500, meaning that like Apple's more expensive than other things. Like the multiples are getting a bit high, right? Here's a quote. So this one's trying to keep you, calm. They say they're still healthy in the balance sheet position and they're still going to grow earnings faster than the broader market. That was from Woolbury. That's what they're trying to convince you. But it's like, if you read this stuff though, it's like, well, how are you going to do that? I mean, if your new phones aren't great and and I'm worried about my job situation, do I want to go out and buy $1,000 or $1,500 phone, right? That's the question. This is Dan Ives. He's the forever pumper of this stuff. He says, while some could read this as confidence worry, Apple just delivered a robust quarter with a massive AI-driven supercycle, right, ahead, and we do not view this at the time to hit the exit button. So that's why I said you guys got to look at everything. Like, look at the products that they got coming out. And then you see whilst you're staying, and you got to, for me, a bit of a disconnect. Here's another person. They say, Buffett may feel we're about to go into recession, so by raising cash now, he'll be able to buy companies cheap later on. He may smell an opportunity coming. And again, you got to make your decisions that make sense for you. I'm just showing you guys different opinions and also sharing my opinion as well. There has been some rotation in the market, and this is interesting to see. So this is like this past week. People were putting money into real estate ETF, utility ETF, tech, energy, and then I guess they were selling off materials, consumer discretionary, communications, and consumer staples and financials. You can see it there. When you actually compare the industries, and I show you guys this from time to time, I put this on I sorted it by the 3-year. So the past 3 years, energy and tech and industrials have been doing all right, and the laggards have been real estate and consumer discretionary. So you are seeing some rotation. Why would, for example, I was seeing that people are putting some money in, say, utilities or healthcare. Why would you do that kind of thing? Basically, if you think like the market's going to be flat or maybe a little bit down, you want to just be going into stuff that's like not going to go to zero. It's going to have steady, revenues, cash flows coming in. So like utilities, for example, I'm not going to turn off my power, right? I'm going to use that forever. I'm going to use my water and that kind of stuff. So is it a major grower? Not necessarily, but they're going to pay some sort of dividend, and it's considered a safe play, the same way that you would be going into bonds. The other issue as well is like when I look at what the Tesla pumper channels are doing, and this is a true story. This is just a couple hours ago. That this one person at Teslanomics says, if anyone is doubting this, the Tesla Roadster is 100% going to fly, and the unveil next year is going to blow people's minds. Quote, I think the Tesla Roadster demo will be mind-blowing. It might be the most mind-blowing demo of anything ever. And I think that's quoting Elon Musk. So like that's just how delusional some of these people are, and it's sort of why I try to make more realistic videos. Like, guys, I don't think Tesla's going to build a flying car. And even if they do, who's going to build said flying car? Because like when you look at sort of what's going on in the market here, right? Look at this one. Almost half of those who retire at 65 could run out of money. That's not so great. 72% of Americans worry Social Security will run out. Also not so great. And you get these kind of articles. I sold my Tesla. Here's how I did it. And they go through like the numbers of like, okay, if you sell your Tesla, is it worth it? What kind of money can you get? Should you get another car, etc.? And then you got this kind of thing, right? Home valuations are rising faster than incomes. This stuff, when you put this stuff together, like you guys know this on the ground, and I show these kind of things because I just want to emphasize that I'm a real person too, right? I'm not some just like, how can I say, delusional person on social media / YouTube, or person on Wall Street that's completely out of touch with the regular person. Like I know people are struggling, and even like this, during the Olympics, I saw this one. It says, can't even pay my rent. Many U.S. Olympic athletes earn less than $15,000 a year. And it's like, oh my God. And these are the people that are supposed to, represent our country. And I guess to be fair, I guess they do represent our country. people who are struggling, and we send them out there to entertain us. That's essentially what it is. Like this kind of thing, right? So people are struggling. Please entertain us. You go on the Mr. Beast show and you have to sign this contract. They made a whole video about this, but the basic gist of it is that you have to be willing to injure yourself or even die to go on basically a Hunger Games kind of thing. And that's sort of the situation that we're in. And this is why you look at everything to understand what's going on in the market, because it's what's going on culturally, what's going on economically, what are the sort of talk of the town. And then you got this weird stuff here where like, people are struggling. Yeah, Elon Musk is like, yo, give me my 56 billion. Like, true story. Tesla was like, if you guys remember this, we were talking about this like was the last month or whatever. And like Tesla was advertising for Elon to get paid. And then you got this. Elon's like, yo, there could be a civil war in the UK. This just came out today. And, what's even more crazy in Tesla Land, and I'm bringing up Tesla Land stuff because there's these just like weird disconnects that happen in social media. Here's another one. My head is spinning this morning and I realized this may be a complete fantasy. Quote, this is one of the Tesla pumpers. Do you believe Tesla will sell cars to retail in 10 years? Are they going to still sell cars? It's like, because like, Elon's trying to sell you a bunch of robots and stuff like that. And like, if you read the news, and this is sort of why, and I know we talk about Tesla a lot on the channel, but if you read all the news, you know that people are struggling, you know there's possible recession, and some guy's like, yo, I'm going to build a bunch of robots, you can have a robot army, and it's going to be like, a billion of these things by 2040. Like, what? Okay, Elon. And this is how, guys, because people always, ask, like, how do I pick up on scams and stuff like that? Is because if you open your eyes to what's happening in the world, and not necessarily just get tunnel vision on, this robot army hope is going to save me, you'll do much better, right? And if you're curious, like, so what do I do? What do I buy? Some people, ask these kind of questions, and I'll just be honest. For the average person, just throw your money, not all your money. I want to make that clear on that, not all your money, but, put money in index funds. You're probably going to be okay. The reason why I say probably is because, like, I understand completely, guys. Like, you look at, the hottest thing on the market. So let's say this year it's going to be your AI stuff, or the next year it's going to be kitty coins and bunny coins. Like, you always feel like, oh, I need to be hitting that next big thing, etc. Index funds, I mean, it captures all the stuff that's happening in the market. Like, you're going to match the market. You're not going to underperform the market. You're not going to overperform the market. You're going to match the market. And it's a safe way to go, because I would say, don't gamble with your future, right? Insure your future. I understand that there'll be hot trends every single year. It happens every year. And if you want to put a little money inside hot trend, fine. But make sure you got a baseline there. And moreover, which a lot of channels don't talk enough about, and I just want to just always mention it over and over again, have a good job. Have job skills, right? Have skills, both, and just put this up, both hard and soft skills, like that companies need you. People need you, right? It's not just companies, people. That you're always going to be useful to someone. You're always going to prevail to provide value, because ultimately this is right here, right? It's combined with investing and saving is going to get you to where you want to be. There's always going to be opportunity out there, guys, and I understand like how this stuff is played, right? People, just think like there's, I have to put all my trust in whatever Lord Savior Elon, or I have to try to play the lottery and like whatever crypto or whatever, and that's my only way out. I want you to think in a different way. I honestly want you to think about, hey, what skills can I have? And I just put this up. There's a lot of skills out there else in the world other than just this. But what skills can I have that are going to sure that you're always going to be useful in this world? And for those of you, like, just for example, I'll just give you a simple example that are like, hey, where's opportunity like today? Guys, there's been a shortage of nurses for a long time. Healthcare is like a field that's never going to go away. You look at the data and the numbers, and there's the elderly population is only going to increase, right? So this is one opportunity. Or skilled labor jobs are really good right now, because again, like it's just unfortunate just the way that it is. It's hard to find people that want to do that kind of stuff. They all want to just click two buttons on their on their mouse thing and make a bunch of money with crypto. I know the young kids don't really want to work, but you have to think of that as an opportunity when you have to do the things that other people don't want to do, and you're going to be great. And the last thing I just want to mention is, like, always have a parachute, a soft landing for yourself, right? Keep some money set aside. There's just the way social media works is, and I know this because I see it, is people feel like they have to show off all of the time, right? No matter what the cost. And you feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses. I tell you that the best way to be successful, though, is just like not worrying about what the Joneses are doing, or the Smiths or the Andersons or whatever other family out there. And it's like, just worry about what you're doing. And, the game that you want to be playing is going for the long term and for sustainability, right? That's the game you want to be playing. There's always going to be ups and downs, but ultimately, though, if you take care of yourself, you're going to be in it for the long game. So anyway, I hope this is important and interesting and useful for you guys. I try to show you guys as much info as I possibly can, sort of what's going on in the culture and also the markets. and keep you updated on the latest news. So always appreciate your time, and I'll catch you on the next video.